Rugby Championship, folks, round number 2, top 5 players of the round. We're going to go through 5 of the guys who I thought stood out pretty well. You guys can let us know your thoughts on who you would have if you were picking 5. Good thing about this is you can pick guys who played the same position, because I do feel like there was one particular position which stood out this week. But as always, you guys can let us know your thoughts. And wrote up a piece for Planet Rugby for this one, so check out a link down in the description to the Planet Rugby piece. They got plenty of good rugby content over there as well. First guy I'm going to go with, he's a right winger. And this is in no particular order, but I'm going to go with Will Jordan. I do feel like Will Jordan is something of an X-Factor guy for the All Blacks, and that's not particularly startling news if you've watched the All Blacks any time in the last, oh goodness me, how many years has he been playing now? But basically, whenever Will Jordan's on the pitch, and they never put him at fullback, he's always making something out of nothing. Or times where he's like, you give him an inch, he takes a mile. He is just that kind of player. How many of the tries that the All Blacks scored that he was set up, either scoring or set up in? He set up certainly the Aaron Smith try where he gets tackled, quickly releases, gets up and goes again. Try assist for Aaron Smith. It's a direct try assist. He's got a line break and passes to Cody Taylor, who then passes to Frizell, who ends up scoring a try. And then he bobbles but manages to catch and force the cross kick from Beauden Barrett. So Will Jordan, man. It's a try assist. It's a try. If he was playing ice hockey, he'd get a secondary assist on one of the tries. They don't do secondary assists in rugby, but I'm going to give him one. So, I mean, goodness gracious me, he beat 7 defenders. He's just unbelievable. He's had inner ear issues, which have kept him out of both Super Rugby and the All Blacks in recent times. So fingers crossed this guy stays fit and healthy, because if the All Blacks are going to have a shot at the Rugby World Cup, you feel like a team with Will Jordan in it is going to have a better shot than without. Next guy I'm going to go with, surprise, surprise, it is a right winger. And old Cheslin Kolbe. In a kind of lackluster performance from the Springboks, this guy still managed to stand out. There was a little bit of talk of, wow, they're not playing Aronsa, guys in great form. Should play the guys that are, still in form. Well, Kolbe, he just kept doing that phenomenal winging stuff, didn't he? I mean, he scored an absolute peach of a try. Moonga was kind of coming across, but he just dove across and was just running with a purpose, like trying to put that team on his back. He's not the biggest guy, but he was carrying a lot of weight at the weekend. He finished with nigh on 100 metres. 98 metres is his final total from 9 carries, which speaks to just how effective his ball carrying was. He beat 3 defenders. He had 8 from 9 tackles, including, I remember him making a good... Who did he tackle? He tackled one of the All Blacks guys who was on a great charging run. And if Kolbe hadn't come across and made the tackle, they were looking like they were going to be in dire straits. He kicked a conversion from the sideline. Another kick hit the post after Faf de Klerk had gone off. But, I mean, geez. As I said, the box did not look that great at Mount Smart. But one of the guys who stood out was Cheslin Kolbe. So if there was any concerns that guy is, being kind of overtaken by some other wingers in South Africa, I think he proved a bit of a point at that one. Next guy I'm going to go with is not a right winger, and I have mentioned him in one of the previous guys, and Will Jordan's one, because Will Jordan helped set up a Shannon Frizell try. Shannon Frizell was nigh on unplayable in that opening quarter of the game. He was just involved into a bit of everything. He didn't manage to kind of maintain that same work rate for the entire game, but the game itself kind of went from just the All Blacks playing champagne rugby to kind of, a proper arm wrestle test match. But for the start of the game, goodness gracious me, he beats 9 defenders in the first half alone. That's as many as he beats in the entire game. So second half, he doesn't beat any. But he still finishes in that 40-minute period with more defenders beaten than anybody else this week. Like, he was just, embodying, he was channeling Jerome Kaino in that performance. Absolutely crazy. Beats 9 defenders, like I mentioned, 43 metres. He's the top New Zealand tackler with 12. He gave away kind of a silly penalty on Jasper Visa at one point with a high shot after Visa had already knocked it on. But then he immediately makes up for it by winning a turnover at the breakdown. So, yeah, man, Shannon Frizell, over the last 2 weeks, you feel like has pretty much cemented himself into that All Blacks number 6 jersey, which has been a bit of a question mark for a wee while. Next guy I'm going to go with is another right winger, because Mark Nawanita, he's got a long name, Mark Nawanita Wase for the Wallabies, was just kind of like Kolbe and Will Jordan, was involved into so many of the positive things that his team were doing. If you can hear screaming outside, that's my children playing, by the way. 9 carries for 126 metres. Now, he clocks up quite a few of those with his try, which is an intercept, so kind of unopposed metres. So you take that with a little bit of kind of a skeptical eye. But that intercept was a proper 14-point try, because the Pumas were hot on attack. Tom Wright had kind of put his team on the back foot. They needed some magic to get themselves out of jail. And who was there? Mark Nawanita. He'd taken a quick tap earlier to help kind of get Australia getting some go forward for the initial try to Ikitau. He makes 8 from 10 tackles. I mean, he couldn't get Mateo Carreras' one. He tried to sweep across but was unable to kind of catch into him. But, I mean, yeah, goodness me. Nawanita, just his go forward ball in that game was something pretty special. He certainly looks to have put a wee bit of daylight between him and Vunivalu. Like, it's such a contrast. Vunivalu was probably the worst player on the pitch for the Wallabies the week before. And then same position, new player, best player on the pitch is probably this guy. So, yeah, 3 right wingers out of my first 4 picks. And my last guy, it's not going to be a right winger this time. It's going to be a forward, because you need to go for some of the engine room guys. Brodie Retallick. So I feel sorry for the Argentinians. I've not picked any Argentinians in the top 5, but keep an eye out for the Team of the Week video, because that certainly features some Argentinian players. But Brodie Retallick, the All Blacks second row certainly looks good when he's playing it. Like, they didn't have him the week before, and they still played well. But you see what you get when Brodie Retallick's in the side. Like, 10 runs for 37 metres doesn't sound that flash, but he's a lock. Most locks don't get anywhere near those kind of numbers. Most locks, like props, are often like 1 metre, 1 carry. Locks are often 1 metre, 2 carries. 2 metres, 1 carry. Like Brodie Retallick, 10 runs, 37 metres. That's way more than locks are supposed to average. He is genuinely a dynamic ball carrier. For contrast, Scott Barrett on the same team was 6 carries for 4 metres, so less than a metre a carry. Brodie was just carrying the house down. He's our top line-out man with 5 wins. He also manages to disrupt the Springboks line-out ball. He wins a line-out steal. His defense is great. He makes 8 from 9 tackles. He loves getting his hand on the ball as well. He's got like 9 passes in this game, which again, for a lock, is just nuts. He genuinely has an unbelievable skill set. That's why he is a former World Player of the Year. He can carry better than many locks can. He can handle the ball. He's good in the air, makes his tackles. He's just a genuine all-round skill set player, which is phenomenal to see. So there you go, folks. Top 5 players of the week. In the old Team of the Week, I've had to narrow those 3 right wingers down to 1. So this is a good thing about the old top 5, as we can share some love for some guys that were playing in the same position. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts. If you were narrowing it down to your top 5, who gets the nod and why. And as I said, check out the article with Planet Rugby down in the description too, because they do plenty of good work. And yeah, you guys take care of yourselves. I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.